Hello folks, my name is Miss Armgart. Today we are going to be talking about what is a ratio, describing relationships between two quantities. We're going to use that to talk about this relationship between these candy bars in a fraction, a phrase, and a colon. So we just finished doing fractions. Let's look at that. So for every 4 Snickers, there are 2 Twix. So the for every is the key, which is why. So for every 4 Snickers, you will see 2 Twix. Now we can simplify this by dividing each side by the greatest common factor 2. We get a 2-to-1 ratio. For every 2 Snickers, you're going to get 1 Twix. Now, I know that there are 10 candy bars total that we counted. So for every 10 total candy bars, 4 of them will be Snickers. For every amount, there is another amount. Now we can also simplify this. The greatest common factor is still 2. We get, so for every 5 candy bars, 2 of them are going to be Snickers. See what we're doing here, folks? So now, let's look at the phrase. Instead of just writing it as a fraction, we're going to write it as our phrase. So we still have 4 Snickers to 2 Milky Ways. It's just a different way to write it. Instead of the fraction, we're writing it side by side. Now, folks, don't get confused with the 3 Musketeers. That is simply the name of the candy. So for every Musketeers bar, there are 2 Twix. So again, we've taken these numbers, we've written it into a phrase. So now, the colon, which instead of up and down, again, we're going to do side by side. So 4 Snickers, there are 2 Milky Ways. There are 2 Twix in our 10 total. So for every 10 candy bars, you're going to get 2 Twix. Every 4 Snickers, there's going to be 2 Milky Ways. Now, this is really important that we don't write it the other way, because if we wrote 10 to 2, that means something very different. That would be for every 2 candy bars, 10, like, it doesn't work the same way. So when you are writing these ratios, it is really important that you have the correct number in the correct place. So one place that you see and people use a lot of ratios is in recipes. So you're welcome to make these melty chocolate truffles at some point. This is one of Mr. Meyer's favorite holiday things. So here's the recipe. We want to know the ratio of sugar to butter. So we look in here and we find, well, we know there's 1 cup of powdered sugar, and there are 2 tablespoons. Oh, he wanted, okay. All right, so here's one of Mr. Meyer's favorite holiday recipes for these delicious chocolate truffle cookies. We are going to look for our regular sugar and our butter. So we go down the recipe. I see here 1/2 cup of sugar to 2 tablespoons of butter. So this is Mr. Meyer's favorite holiday recipe for melty chocolate truffles. We are going to be looking at our sugar and butter ratio. So I know we have 1/2 cup of sugar and we have 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. So we are going to use that colon right there, the 2 dots, the colon, to represent 1/2 cup of sugar. For every 1/2 cup of sugar, there are 2 tablespoons of butter. So what happens if we want 1 cup of sugar? How much butter do we need? To change the butter the same amount we changed the sugar. So we have doubled the sugar because 1 whole. So 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 2/2 equals 1 cup. So we are going to need 4 tablespoons of butter if we want a cup of sugar in our recipe. We know that 1/2 times 3 is actually 3/1, So that gives us 3/2 or 1 1/2. So now our ratio becomes 1 1/2 to how many tablespoons of butter? Well, if we did it to the sugar, we got to do it to the butter. So our butter is 2 times 3 equals 6. So that's 6 tablespoons of butter. So for every 1.5 cups of sugar, we're going to have 6 tablespoons of butter. See, just that easy, folks. But now, oh gosh, what happens if we need to make a smaller amount? We need a half batch. What happens? Oh no, we want half. So we need to do 1/2, and instead of multiplying, we're going to divide by 2, because if we rip our paper in half, we get 2 halves, so that would be 1/2 times 1/2, which gives us 1/4. So we have 1/4 a cup of sugar to 1 tablespoon of butter. No matter what we do, if we make more or we make less truffles, it's still going to be the same. So at the bottom, you can see you have 2 vocabulary words to fill in. I am signing off. Happy solving.